Today, we're going to talk about how our emotions often drive the behavior that we display towards others. And often our emotions come from stories that we tell ourselves about why others are behaving the way that they do. We often don't feel and act based on facts. We often feel and act based on the stories that we tell ourselves. And when we recognize that we tell ourselves stories every day, we can then change these stories and better manage our emotions. And with these better managed emotions, we can then improve our behavior toward the people around us and our relationships with them. Now, it may sound strange to think that we tell ourselves stories, so let me give you an example of how this might happen. Maybe we see someone step up and help an elderly person carry something heavy. We see that person's behavior, and then we may tell ourselves a story. This person was busy, but they interrupted their busy day to help out that senior citizen. What a great person. We may smile at the person, a total stranger. We may give them a thumbs up signal. But what we don't know is, are they really interrupting their day? Maybe they're not busy at all. Maybe this person that's helping the senior is the son or the daughter of the senior that they're helping. But we see the behavior and we tell ourselves a story. And then we have a feeling about this story that we tell ourselves. And then our behavior is based on the feeling that we have from this story that we've told ourselves. Let's look at another example that probably every one of us has probably had in our life. Someone cuts you off on the highway. Our initial instinct might be, what a jerk. They're selfish, they're careless. And then we continue on with this story because we're not only mad, we might be afraid. Maybe they could have caused a bad accident. We might say to ourselves, obviously they think where they are going is more important than the safety and convenience of anyone or anybody else around them. We might feel really mad based on our story that we've told ourselves. And as that emotion bubbles up, we both exit the highway. Now maybe we're side by side at the stoplight. Now we may let this person know that we're upset at them. Maybe we glare at them to let them know that we are upset. And we act based on this story, our story, that we have told ourselves. We don't know the truth, which might be that they're rushing to the hospital to see their significant other who maybe has been put into intensive care. And if we knew that, maybe our emotions toward them and our behavior toward them would be wildly different. Now, regardless of what story we tell ourselves, these stories we tell cause us to feel a certain type of emotion. And if you remember from classes, we get filled with emotion, that emotion can drive the way that we behave towards that person or in that situation. Let's play this out in another example. Let's say that during my deployment, I talk with my wife, Kate. We haven't been on the phone long. She's in a hurry and may seem uninterested in talking with me. That's the feeling that I'm receiving. Maybe she's doing something while we're talking. She's working with the kids, or she seems distracted. So we decide to end the conversation. Now, the story in my head might be, her life seems to be going really well. In fact, she doesn't even really seem unhappy that I'm gone. I'm here away from my family, working extensive hours for an extended period of time. And for some reason, to me, it feels like it's not even really bothering her. And we end the conversation, and I keep telling myself this story, and I get more frustrated, hurt, sad. That story may lead me to feel resentful or hurt or mad. And then those emotions influence how I behave towards her and maybe other people around me. Maybe when I end the phone conversation with my wife, someone stops to talk with me and I'm short with them. Or maybe the next time I talk with Kate to connect on the phone, I provide super short answers to anything that she asks me to show that I'm upset. Or maybe I'm tempted to make little comments. Obviously, you're too busy. What I'm doing is not important. Let's just not discuss it or talk about it. All of this comes from the story that I tell myself about her behavior or her actions. So the first step to better relationships and management of myself and ourselves is awareness. And now that we are aware that we tend to tell ourselves stories and that this story may not be true, when we start to feel negative emotions rising, we can stop. We can retrace our steps and then understand or try and understand what behavior did we see or did we experience. Remember, behaviors can be seen or heard. It's not a judgment or an assumption, which we often find very easy to do. The behavior that upset me was Kate hung up after 5 minutes. That's the behavior. Kate was being rude and doesn't care about that I'm gone is a judgment. So to tell yourself a new story that assumes positive intent, In my example, I might say, she had to hang up after 5 minutes. I'm guessing one of the kids needed her help, or she had a lot going on there. I really appreciate how she's being strong while I'm gone and taking care of the kids. Now, since these stories hold so much power, it's helpful to recognize when it's happening. So, when you feel like you are filled with negative emotion towards a person or towards a situation, remember that you're telling yourself a story, and you may not know the facts without a conversation. And as we know, all behavior is an expression of a need. Their needs are not just known to us. If it is someone we care about, we may know their needs, or we know them as a person. We may know them as a good and caring person, and we may give them a little more leniency. But if we don't know them real well, when we see that behavior, tell yourself a story about why that behavior is happening. This will bring you positive emotions if you tell a positive story. This alone will help stop the cycle of hurting people when we are hurt and creating anger when we are angry. You probably remember from class, we can only control ourselves, and we can choose the stories that we tell ourselves to affect that emotion and our actions. In the Mastering Our Stories recorded session, we're going to learn more about how to be intentional in shaping the stories that we tell ourselves.